I originally sold my book, Dangerous, which was the story of how I had become this cultural phenomenon out of nowhere in America, to Simon & Schuster, one of the big five publishers, who correctly identified that my story was one of big cultural import to the United States. They saw me correctly as one of the key figures in this new thing that no one knew really how to define or how to name. This sort of populist, nationalist, anti-political correctness, anti-feminist kind of uprising of young people. And of course, inevitably, I mean, I warned them. I said, do you know what you're getting yourself in for? And they said, yes, of course. We published Rush Limbaugh, we published Anchor. So I know. But do you really know what you're getting yourself in for? And they said, yes, we're fine. We're very used to publishing controversial authors. So I said, all right, well, okay. And I kind of felt for them a little bit because I knew that they didn't realize what was going to happen to them. And of course, I was proven right. And under pressure from the left, they cancelled the deal. Now it's I sort of pulled the wool over their eyes a little bit by making a big song and dance about this in terms of free speech and the First Amendment when I announced that I was suing them. Really, it was a little bit of misdirection because I wanted them to hire some hotshot First Amendment lawyer, which they duly did. And this, in fact, is not really a free speech case at all. They're a private corporation. They can do business with who they want. But that's the point. They did business with me, and they broke their deal. This is a contract case. And what I want to come out of this, I'm pretty confident that we're going to win, that we're definitely going to take it all the way. Excited that their motion to dismiss, by the way, was just thrown out by the judge, which means that we will be going through to a full trial. My goal with this lawsuit, I mean, I now have set up my own publisher, which I'll tell you about in a minute, but my goal with this lawsuit was to shift the balance of power from publishers to authors, to give authors more control. It's been a sort of established and accepted norm in the publishing industry that publishers can drop a book at any time for any reason, at a whim. Well, that shouldn't be the case. It's I had a contract with them and they broke that contract pretextually. I think I had a little bit of controversy in February. I think they thought my career was over. They didn't imagine I'd come back with resources and all the rest of it. So they're bullies, they're bullies and they're spiteful and they're lazy and sloppy. And they got lazy and sloppy and they canceled our deal for the wrong reasons. They canceled it because they were going to lose business elsewhere in the company. Well, you don't get to do that unless it's a provision in the contract, And if it says in the contract, you can have a book deal from us unless you cost us too much money from left-wing authors and we get too much pressure from left-wing bloggers, in which case we might rescind the deal. Didn't say that. And if they did want to cancel the book, there are various things they had to do. For instance, give me a chance to remedy the manuscript if they decided that it was unfit for publication. They did none of those things. So we're suing them. The judge has said we have a clear case to hear. I'm very happy about that. In the meantime, I have done what I'm actually contractually obligated to do with Simon & Schuster, which is try to make up the money elsewhere. That's in my contract with them, So I'm morally and contractually obliged to do the best I can to realize value from the manuscript. So we've published it ourselves. I've invested $3 million in a new publishing company called Dangerous Books. And it's not just a vanity press. It's not just a sort of, when people say self-publishing, journalists use that to sort of demean you, to suggest that you're going to do this cheap, floppy print-on-demand, piece of the horror show. No, we are a fully fledged publisher. We work with all the major distributors. Our books are in Barnes & Noble. And I'm very happy to say that Pamela Geller, who's a personal hero of mine, has given us her next, and what is, I don't think she'll mind me saying, by far her best book she's ever written, which is called Fatwa, Hunted in America. It's the story of how she became Pamela Geller. And it's a wonderful book. It's a great second book for us. It's exactly the right kind of author. People with ferocious fan bases, people with great stories to tell, and people who do not fit into traditional publishing. I mean, none of the big five would allow, a conservative Jewish anti-political Islam activist, anti-jihad activist to publish a book called Fatwa. It just wouldn't be allowed. So we've, of course, not. The only changes we've made to the book have been stylistic. We haven't edited her for anything other than house style, and we've allowed her to call her book whatever she wants, and we're very happy to be publishing. I think it's going to do really well.